Well, President Trump says he kept plans of this weekend's ISIS attacks under wraps for security reasons. Listen.
We were going to notify him last night, but we decided not to do that because Washington leaks like I've never seen before. And I told my people we will not notify them until our great people are out. A leak could have caused the death of all of them.
Well, the president receiving some backlash for the lack of communication with top Democrats. But isn't this a matter of safety for our troops? Here to debate, Republican strategist Holly Turner and Democratic strategist Kevin Walling. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Heather.
So I want to bring up Nancy Pelosi's statement on Baghdadi. She said, among some other things, the House must be briefed on this raid, which the Russians, but not top congressional leadership, were notified of in advance. Kevin, first of all, the president said, in fact, some other countries were notified after this happened. He did notify some other countries in terms of getting their help so that it would make our troops who are there on the ground safer and safe while this was transpiring. So my question to you is, what does come first, our safety of our troops or politics?
Well, Heather, I disagree with the premise of your question. To suggest that any Republican or Democratic member of Congress would leak operational details about something of this magnitude beforehand is just wrong. Nancy Pelosi spent 20 years as the head of the Intelligence Committee before she was in leadership. In those 20 years and as Speaker, she has leaked nothing when it comes to national security issues like this operation to take out al-Baghdadi. So to suggest that you're going to risk operational security with our personnel by telling Congress is just wrong and un-American.
So, Holly, what about that? I mean, I agree. She has had years and years of experience, so you would think that maybe the first thing she would do would come out and thank our troops, which she did thank our troops, and then she added this element about Russia onto the end of it, kind of twisting it and making it more of a political statement.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And I mean, honestly, we live in different times than we did 20 years ago or 10 years ago or even just 2 years ago. The number of leaks coming out of Washington, D.C. are scary. They're dangerous. And now is not the time to test Nancy Pelosi's allegiance to our troops. This was the right thing to do. And it's not just her. I don't think this was aimed at her. This was aimed at staff and at other members of the committee that have, you know, had some situations in the past that they have leaked things that could be considered dangerous to our democracy. Yeah. And listen, Nancy Pelosi is just so petty. I just don't even understand. And the American people do not like that. This is a day for celebration, and for her to go as low as she did is just unacceptable.
That is a good point. The concern about some lower level workers in some of these offices and them gaining access to some of the information, that makes sense. Let's talk about this, though, because I was very outraged over the weekend, as were a lot of people. Let's take a look at this Washington Post headline for the terrorist in chief. We can take a look at the original headline from the Washington Post. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Islamic State's terrorist in chief, dies at 48. But then they adjusted it. They changed it to this headline we can pull up, where they refer to him as austere religious scholar. Actually, I believe, was this the first one at the helm of the Islamic State, dies at 48. That was the actually, you can't really tell which one was better. And that's kind of the point. Kevin, your response.
Yeah, the first one was correct in that they called him the head of ISIS. They should have kept him the leadership of a terrorist network, not this silly, ridiculous, sad, wrong headline calling him a religious, austere leader. I agree with you 100%, Heather. But to Holly's point, again, just calling into question Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House's commitment to our American troops is fundamentally wrong and un-American, just to return to that point.
Okay. Well, Holly did say maybe perhaps a lower-level worker related with her.
She called into question Speaker Pelosi's commitment to the troops, which is wrong, Heather, and you should call that out as well.
All right. Well, Holly, I did say she was very experienced. Holly, your comment, though, on the Washington Post and the media's handling of this, and then we have to go.
Yeah, I just, when November gets here in 2020 and the Washington Post endorses Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, the American people will remember how they characterized this murderer and this terrorist from it's just it's unbelievable, and I think the American people are going to remember this.
Yeah, we should just end this by thanking all of our troops and our special ops who went out of their way and put their lives on the line. All right. Thank you so much, Kevin, Holly. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks.